Hi everyone, my name is Miss Anthony, and this is my dog Midnight. If you can't tell, we're kind of best friends, and so I thought I would use her help to teach you guys how you should act in my classroom this year. Specifically, how to be engaged, which was one of our three main classroom rules. For me, being engaged just means, being present, coming to class, and, paying attention in a way where you are actually actively engaging with the material and understanding. First, I want to talk about how you can be engaged or what it looks like when you're entering the classroom. So, when you first come in, it's important to just make sure that you're being mindful of others and, coming in quietly. You want to look at the agenda, see what materials you need. And then after that, you're going to take any assignments that you have and turn them in. So homework is always going to be due at the beginning of class if you have some. So just make sure that you turn that in up at the front before actually going to your seat. And then you want to make sure to go to your assigned seat, sit down, and then take out all of the actual materials that you need, which you'll know from the agenda. There's always going to be a bell ringer, and so when you first come in, you want to look at the board and open your notebook and get started. Entering the classroom should not look like, in terms of being engaged, running around, being chaotic. You want to start to get in that mindset. For direct instruction, which is when I'm teaching, you want to make sure that you are, coming prepared, that you're present, and you're following along with the readings. This is an English class, and so it's important to have whatever reading out in front of you, follow along, and if we're annotating, you want to make sure you're annotating as well. Direct instruction should not look like, getting up, walking around, opening the door, going outside, especially without asking. You want to make sure you're there to learn what you're supposed to. In terms of group and partner work, you want to make sure that you are, like I said, being present and looking and listening to your group members and actually being willing to, hear what they have to say. You want to be patient. You want to be working together as a team instead of as individuals. So you want to make sure that you're coexisting, paying attention to them as they're talking, and, just give them respect. For group work, you should not be, playing rough with other people, being disrespectful, talking when they're talking. You want to make sure to engage with them and actually listen. I know that sometimes being engaged in class can be hard. You might be tired, yawning like she is here, or you might, have a day where you're feeling grumpy or frustrated. And I think it's just important to note that every day is not going to be the ideal day to come to class engaged. Like I said, there's going to be extenuating circumstances. You might have days that are harder, but the goal is just always to show up and to be able to stay engaged so that you can feel present and actually learn something from the class. Hopefully, these rules and procedures that I've laid out give you a good foundation to come to class engaged so that you can get a good grade, you can have a good year, and hopefully end up as happy as Midnight looks right here. Thank you guys.